All right, welcome back to the program. If you're car shopping or maybe you've recently bought a new car, you may be all proud of yourself because your new car or your next car is going to have all these fancy bells and whistles when it comes to technology, keeping you in your lane and blind spot monitoring and automatic braking. And these cars are supposedly supposed to be safer for you, right? They're supposed to keep you from getting keep you out of trouble. If it can brake for you, well, it should mean that you're getting into less accidents. Then why do insurance rates keep rising? With more on this, let's go to Pete Karageorgos. He's the Director of Consumer Relations at the Insurance Bureau of Canada. Pete, good morning.
Good morning, Larry.
So let's talk about this. What are we seeing here when it comes to insurance costs and new cars? Despite these cars getting safer, quote unquote, the costs are rising. Why is that?
Well, you just need to look at the cost of cars generally and the fact that newer vehicles with technology in them is really driving the cost to repair them. Gone are the days when someone could take off a bumper that was damaged or scratched and put a new one on, and the repair manual may say it only takes an hour, and today that may be the case, but then you have to add on things like the sensors that need to be recalibrated, the checking of the overall computer system that's behind that. So there's a lot more costs than typically what meets the eye, unfortunately, that people don't find out about until they have a claim and they see that what they thought might have been a few $100s for a bumper is now a few $1,000s.
So I get the cars have all these sensors and the technology is loaded into them, but my thinking is this is also a car that now brakes on its own and doesn't get into that fender bender, doesn't rear end someone because it's braking. So if it shouldn't it be getting in way less accidents and lowering the costs?
One would expect that. And when we are looking at data, as insurance companies do, we see the frequency of collisions actually heading up. The last 5 years, frequencies of collisions have increased 13%. Wow. So we're seeing more collisions. And why is that? Perhaps because of the technology and people are driving a little more distracted. They are on their phones. There is technology in the car that's distracting them from focusing on the road. And so we are seeing frequencies of collisions going up, as well as the average cost of those collisions has gone up 27%. And these are actually Ontario statistics. I don't have national statistics, but the trend is likely the same because of the large market that exists in Ontario. So when we look at the costs going up and more claims happening, then the cost per vehicle is also going up, and so that's resulting in increase in premiums that drivers like you and I are seeing.
Does your group or do individual insurance companies ever reach out to manufacturers and say, hey guys, stop doing X, stop making a headlight so expensive because it's leading to increased costs? And do manufacturers want to hear this kind of advice?
Well, I can't speak for the manufacturers. I do know that insurers do raise these issues, and this information is publicly available. There are organizations out there that highlight the fact that here are the data and the numbers that are being shown. It's a struggle because you do have the competing interests. Car manufacturers want to build cars that people want to purchase and drive, but when those cars are in a crash, the challenge becomes fixing them. And another issue that we're seeing as well is the fact that because some of the technology is so new and proprietary, gone are the days when you could take your vehicle to your friend who may have a body shop or garage to do the repairs, because of the fact that the proprietary technology that exists may require you to actually bring it back to the original equipment manufacturer. And those costs are higher than the labor rates and material costs are typically higher than a private market repair shop.
If there's no competition when it comes to the repairs, if you have to go to the one spot, well, then they can charge whatever they want.
Exactly. And so that lack of competition that exists is also a factor that we have to consider. And we see this in the back end from the insurance claims perspective, and that's why the numbers, as I stated, are showing increases. What's
another, you mentioned like bumpers and the sensors they've got and that kind of stuff. What's another big shocker? Something that people are like, how the heck does this cost so much for a part nowadays?
Well, I look at headlights, and back in the day, again, I was speaking to a colleague who had to get a headlight replaced,
Yeah.
and the time and effort. Gone are the days where you just lift the hood, reach in, unscrew the old lamp, and put in a new one. Now the time that's being spent to remove the whole assembly, put in a bulb that costs substantially more, is shocking and surprising. So headlamps and headlight assemblies is another big shock for people for anyone who's had to try and replace a headlight or even a lamp on a new vehicle. They're seeing the reality.
It's incredible. There are some cars now that you can't even self-change the headlight. You can't even do it yourself. You've got to go into a shop in order to get your headlight replaced. It's kind of nuts. I got a question for you, Pete, and it comes via. I'm sort of tweaking a text message I got from a listener, and I guess the message is from this listener is like, do people that have cheaper vehicles, older vehicles, that aren't worth much, because because their cars are worth so much less, are they partially subsidizing people with $60,000 SUVs because you can't possibly get away with charging, exactly what you'd want to charge someone who's got a $60,000, $80,000 vehicle?
Well, no, insurance companies do look at the cost of the vehicles, and that's a factor. And when anyone buys a new vehicle, I often recommend that you shop around for the car. You're looking at the different models. You also need to shop around for the insurance and see what that's going to cost you, because the insurance is on an ongoing basis. Insurance companies look at the individual vehicles and say, okay, if it's going to cost more to repair it based on the history of this vehicle, that's going to be translated into the premium. So there isn't that type of subsidy that occurs. But what does occur that may surprise some people, because I have an older car as well, that's now about 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
Is as cars age, it's tougher to find parts for them. And thus the challenge that exists with prices going up as well. So there's a kind of a sweet spot, I guess, about 5-10 years of age. And then with newer cars, because there's fewer optional aftermarket parts available, and older cars, again, where you can find fewer parts at both ends of that bell curve, you see the challenges that exist for vehicle owners.
Pete, one last question for you about electric cars. Is it the advanced technology that is in there that is making insurance for them more expensive, or is it the opposite? There's so much less moving parts that they're cheaper to insure. What are we seeing there?
I honestly haven't looked at the differences with electric vehicles, but I suspect anytime you're dealing with technology and the need to go to original equipment manufacturer repair facilities, that's going to have an impact because, again, no competition or diminished competition. So I suspect that until there's more and more technology and more individuals who are out there able to repair electric vehicles beyond just the original manufacturers, you're going to see a similar situation in terms of prices being a little higher to repair them.
Pete Karageorgos is the Director of Consumer Relations at the Insurance Bureau of Canada. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Elias.